Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wild. Today we are talking about Doordash drivers demand tip transparency from company. Yep, I think we've all been fighting for this for a long time. I think all of us want tip transparency, and now we are finally hitting headlines with this concept. So with that said, I want to go over what this article is saying, how it actually is for drivers, and of course, everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. Do you always leave a good tip when ordering a food delivery with Doordash? You may unknowingly be picking up the slack for bad tippers in your neighborhood, a petition claims. I don't know if that's really the way I would put it. I don't think it's really picking up the slack. More like we're just not going to serve those people. Like, why would we want to serve people who don't tip us? Especially since we're not being paid from the company even close to the amount as we should. Recently, organizers with the drivers' rights movement launched a change.org campaign dubbed Stop Hiding Pay Information from Gig Workers. The petition accuses Doordash of purposely making it hard for drivers to determine whether a delivery is worth their effort by hiding the total value of larger tips. Not only that, they're actually just continuously making it harder for us to do our job. Between messing with early access scheduling, adding programs like the high pay order program, which isn't even that great of a program. It's really just a manipulative way to mess with drivers, as well as other things that just are overall manipulative from the company. Now, if you don't know what I mean by the high order pay program, I actually made a video about it. It's basically Top Dasher 2.0. I'll leave it in the description. Feel free to check it out. You can't classify workers as independent contractors, but not honor the obligations that come with that, reads the petition, which has gained more than 52,000 signatures online. I mean, that's a good point, but at the same time, there is a lot of freedom that comes with this kind of work that most jobs don't. And I don't think that bring up that point is really going to change how Doordash is going to operate, especially since a lot of these companies are just overall going to manipulate us anyway. In New Jersey, the average Dasher earns more than $25 per hour when they're on a delivery, including 100% of the tips. Drivers work fewer than 4 hours a week on average, numbers that are in line with the national average, a Doordash spokesperson told Patch. That is a really manipulative way to put it. More than $25 per hour when they're on a delivery. That's dealing with active time again. 100% of the tips when you don't steal them. In some cases, the restaurants can steal them as well. And work fewer than 4 hours a week on average. Again, that's probably dealing with active time, not actual work time. Indeed says the typical Doordash delivery driver in New Jersey makes about $55,907 per year, which is 8% above the national average. It's an estimate similar to Glassdoor, which says the estimated total pay for a Doordash loyal driver is $53,826 per year in the Newark area. Wouldn't be surprised if that was actually the case. That's about how much I made last year, and I got deactivated from Doordash. Drivers pay for their own gas, although the company helps eligible Dashers defray the cost with 10% cash back program and a weekly gas bonus. Drivers also must pay to upkeep their cars, which can add up quickly. Okay, that's a load of bull crap. That 10% cashback program on the Dasher Direct card is going to end really soon. Not to mention that weekly gas bonus ended already. So that is a hunk of lies right there. Although, yes, the upkeep on the cars can add up quickly. According to the company, a driver's paycheck comes from 3 sources: customer tips, company promotions, and base pay, which is based on estimated time, distance, and desirability of an order and ranges from $2 to $10 per delivery. Okay, so first off, we've actually talked a lot about how base pay is not actually calculated properly. And a lot of people have even proven that it is not calculated based on time, distance, and desirability. In fact, the order would more likely be canceled before it even becomes a relevant number from $2.50 to something decent. Company promotions, you're talking about peak pay. It doesn't even mean much because a lot of times peak pay will only make orders worse, or they will oversaturate a market. And customer tips, that's basically 80% of your income. But with 56% of a driver's income coming from tips, knowing what customers will stiff you can make the difference between making money on the trip or losing it. the petition argues. I respectfully disagree. 56% is pretty low in comparison to the majority of drivers. That said, are some people accepting lowball offers? Probably why that number is so low. But like I said, 80% of the money you're going to make is going to come from 20% of the cause. That cause is going to come from tips. Here's what happens when DoorDash gets an order from a customer, the company says. Dashers are shown a guaranteed minimum amount, including the full DoorDash pay they will earn for completing a delivery before they even accept the delivery, as well as the location, the name of the business, and the customer drop-off location, and estimated total mileage for the delivery. After a Dasher completes a delivery, they can see their full earnings breakdown in their Dasher app, including promotions, incentives, and 100% of their tips. That's factually accurate. Drivers are always free to decline any order, DoorDash says. Read more about the company's pay model and tip transparency here. Number one, we will always decline lowball offers regardless. Number two, I like how they have tip transparency in quotes. That is so accurate. The problem, allege some drivers, is that DoorDash app only shows a guaranteed minimum amount and doesn't let them see how much the customer has tipped until they accept the order. Which is true, and one of two things we need to change on this subject. Number one, you allow full tip transparency, or number two, you actually have a decent base pay. But let's be honest, that's not happening. Here's the dilemma that many Dashers are facing, the petition explains. You get a trip for 7.2 miles, you are offered $4 to complete it. That doesn't make any sense. But if you believe that there's no way it could be $4, in the past, DoorDash has hidden the full amount. So sometimes $4 means $8 or $12 or $17. You decide that it's worth the gamble, so you go to a restaurant, wait 20 minutes for the food to get ready, drive 7.2 miles, that takes 20 minutes, and you have to drive back from far out. That's another 20 minutes. Total time spent, 60 minutes. Total gas used, 14.4 miles. 0.6 gallons, $2.75. And it turns out DoorDash hid part of the pay and the total pay is $5. After gas, you made $2.25 in 1 hour. And this doesn't even count for the depreciation on your car. That is very exaggerated and seemingly not accurate at all. If you're getting a trip for 7.2 miles and you're seeing $4, there's no hidden tip there. We talked a lot about hidden tips on this channel. I actually made a video talking all about how the DoorDash hidden tip system works. I'll leave it in the description. Feel free to check it out. And 60 minutes on this order, you shouldn't be waiting 60 minutes on this order. For a time, some Dashers used a workaround solution, turning to Para, a third-party app that allowed drivers to see the tip amount before accepting an order, as long as they let the app access their DoorDash account. Yeah, those were good times, man, where they actually had a full tip transparency. That was a good time. But last year, Para stopped working with DoorDash's app, partly leading to calls for a day-long driver strike. DoorDash strikes never work. I've always said that. It's always going to be the case. DoorDash strikes never work. Meanwhile, DoorDash has discouraged drivers from using the Para app in conjunction with its own. Para collects its information by requiring Dashers to share their login credentials and scraping content without authorization from the DoorDash platform, which is a deeply concerning security and safety risk. We remain committed to protecting the privacy and security of every side of our marketplace and focusing on ensuring Dashers have clear information about their earnings and the best possible dashing experience. That is the biggest load of garbage. You didn't like that because we actually had tip transparency where you chose not to do your job. That is the biggest lie, the biggest BS statement ever. It was never about security and safety. You are saying that for the sake of political view. But the truth of the matter is, you just don't want us to be making what we're supposed to be making. Now, with their livelihoods on the line, Dashers are speaking up and demanding more transparency when it comes to tips, according to the Drivers' Rights Movement, a group led by Para and a collective of passionate gig workers. Okay, so now we have a total movement on our hands, which I think this has been around for a while, but I think it's now officially named that. Oh, look, they actually have a YouTube video on it, too. Equitable and fair earnings. What is DoorDash's reason for preventing drivers from seeing the full tip amount before they choose to take an order. According to the company's website, it's all about fairness. In deciding which orders to accept, some Dashers may wait for orders with exceptionally large tips and repeatedly declining lower, and even average paying orders with the goal of completing only high tip deliveries. Unfortunately, this behavior not only impacts the experience for other Dashers, limiting their ability to receive high value orders, it also harms the experience for customers and merchants relying on Dashers to complete their deliveries. These actions result in longer wait times for customers and leave merchants with unfulfilled orders and potentially unhappy patrons. To ensure all Dashers have an equal chance of receiving high value orders, while increasing the likelihood that an order will be filled quickly, we show Dashers an estimated amount on orders that contain larger tips rather than display the full amount up front. This estimate does not impact the amount the Dasher receives upon completing the delivery. Every Dasher still receives 100% of customer tips, provided an estimated amount. All Dashers have visibility to the minimum amount they will earn and a fair chance at high value orders. It's about control. I'm not even gonna break this down into smaller parts. Here's the facts. It's about control. They want to control you. They've been dropping pay like crazy. They only care about fulfilling orders. They don't care about us actually making the proper amount of money. So everything they have just said was just some political bullcrap that seems honest and true where it's not. And not to mention, it has been proven time and time again that DoorDash has stolen tips before. It's been proven time and time again that restaurants have stolen tips before. They are lying. They always have lied. They always will lie. Not all of its drivers are seeking full-time hours, and many simply want to make supplemental income the company has maintained. There are a lot of part-time drivers. That is absolutely true. And again, this industry is an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal. You shouldn't want to be full-time on DoorDash or any of these gig apps for the long term. DoorDash is committed to ensuring equitable and fair earning opportunities for all Dashers, and we're always eager to hear their feedback, a spokesperson told Batch last week. No, they're not. They will give you a chance to give feedback. They will never implement it. Will be put as a target so that way they could end up causing more harm to you in the future. Watch what happens when that glitch comes up and then a massive amount of drivers just get deactivated for no reason at all. But the organizers of the Change.org petition aren't buying DoorDash's explanation. According to the petition, DoorDash claims that it is to make every trip worth taking. What this means, there are many trips that don't make sense for drivers to take. But DoorDash wants to accept these trips to boost their revenue. The problem is that they are doing this at the expense of the driver. If DoorDash wants to take unreasonable trips to boost their revenue, that is a business decision by them, and they should pay the cost, not pass the cost onto the workers by trying to trick them. Facts. I love how they put that. Because it's not about actually doing their job and actually trying to make it a good experience for Dashers. It's never been about that. It's just to manipulate them into doing things that they shouldn't be doing in a business decision to begin with. Tip transparency isn't the only thing Dashers are fighting for in the workplace. According to the drivers' rights movement, other rights they are demanding include the right to work for multiple platforms and choose where our time is best spent. I feel like we already have that. Although if you tell DoorDash what apps you're working for, they'll probably deactivate you. The right to easily access the underlying data of your work profile and earnings history. Good luck with that one, man. They are probably going to hide that information forever. A right to due process free from unfair deactivations, and the right to understand why, appeal, and respond with representation. That needs to happen across the board. The amount of unfair deactivations, the amount of illegal deactivations, in my opinion, have been unbelievable. They just start cutting drivers who are relatively intelligent, and then they will say there was a violation on your account, therefore we do not want to reactivate you. Meanwhile, there was no real problem on your account. They lied. They always have lied. They always will lie. That's who they are. More than 100,000 Dashers across the United States and Canada fill millions of deliveries per month. The company said in 2017, just 4 years after it launched, Dashers earned over $11 billion on the platform in 2021. That sounds about right. DoorDash saw rapid growth during the coronavirus crisis, but the boom is expected to slow down, according to a quarterly report released on August 5th. For 3 months, ended June 30, 2021 and 2022, our revenue was $1.2 billion and $1.6 billion respectively, representing a 30% year-over-year growth. In addition, during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 and the 2021, we expected a significant increase in revenue, total orders, and marketplace gov. The circumstances accelerated the growth in our business during the peak of COVID-19 pandemic are not likely to recur, and we expect growth in consumer demand in our revenue, total orders, and marketplace gov growth rates to continue to decline in future periods compared to growth rates in 2020 and 2021. Yet, I feel like a lot of people were cooped up for so long, they actually just want to live their lives, and hopefully when this inflation thing is starting to go back to normal amounts and we're not basically living paycheck to paycheck, there can probably be more travelers and more opportunities for us to live our lives. Facing intense competition from companies such as Uber Eats and Grubhub, the company said it will hit a big speed bump if it can't recruit enough quality drivers to keep up with the pace. Well, maybe if you stop deactivating them, you might actually have some. Oh wait, quality to you is not the same thing as quality to us? You want people to manipulate and lie to and be able to hurt so that way you can end up doing bad orders for people? That's your problem. That's why Doordash is bad. If we fail to attract Dashers or retain existing Dashers on favorable terms, if we fail to increase the use of our platform by existing Dashers, or if Dashers terminate their agreements with us, we may not be able to meet the demands of merchants and consumers, and our business, financial condition, and results of operations could be adversely affected, the company stated. Doordash is getting scared because they know what they're doing is garbage. Oh, that is hype. I am hyped about that. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. I really hope that you guys got a little hope out of this. I came into this not expecting a whole lot. Basically, it was telling us the same things we already knew. But now it's gotten to a point where DoorDash actually needs to step up and actually do the right thing. Are they going to? Probably not. But now it's come to a point where they are in a serious corner between the DoorDash drivers that are on Para, that are actually starting to veer away from DoorDash and into apps like Uber Eats, Grubhub, and things to that effect, Instacart. Some people are going to rideshare again. DoorDash is getting scared that they don't even have the drivers necessary to actually complete the orders. It's come to a point where we actually have a stronger position against DoorDash than we've ever had. Para was a big part of that. They're not going to be happy about Para being involved at all, saying it's a security risk and all that. No, it's not. It's never been a problem. They've never had a problem with that subject. That's just who they are. They're just inherent liars. But I can't believe how narcissistic this company ended up becoming. It's always about them, and they don't care about the drivers at all. Even though they say they do, they don't. It's come to a point where people are just kind of done with DoorDash as a company. And even if customers end up going there, they're going to lose that market share really fast to companies like Uber Eats and Grubhub. Grubhub just partnered with Amazon so that way they can gain a more customer base from that. Uber Eats has already been doing well between that and Postmates. Not to mention they have a better loyalty program than DoorDash has ever had. It's finally coming full circle where drivers have control again. Now, it's not going to happen right away. It's going to take time, and we may not even see any actual benefit, but I do believe DoorDash has come to a point where you can't even work for DoorDash on its own anymore because they're so manipulative, it doesn't even make sense. I'm excited for the future of gig workers because it's things like this that actually make changes, because now it's not even just a movement that people are trying to do. It's a financial decision that everybody's kind of doing. Not a strike. It's not some trendy thing. It's an actual financial decision that makes sense for everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!